Hey, what's going on, guys? Mike Patrick, and in this video, I just want to talk about how I'm in here, doing some really subtle movements, some really, easy movements, really trying to listen to my body. You guys heard me talk about that before, slowing down on some of your workouts, emphasizing more about, or emphasizing more, stretching and breathing and trying to release muscle contraction. Because we, most of us do enough physical activity, whether you're working out, whether it's work, whether it's just regular movements, throughout the day. But what happens is why we experience so much tension a lot of times, and a part of it is the fact that we make these movements, and a lot of times we don't make these movements in harmony, and we make unaware movements, okay? And I talk about how the body is one big organism, so when you slow down and listen to your body will tell you how to make the proper movements in order to alleviate pain, release tension, release stress, release that bottled up energy and contraction, okay? Because a lot of times, you notice guys who lift a lot of weights, they may walk around and they look big and muscular, and they are muscular, but they're stiff a lot of times because all that muscle contraction, it just makes you tight and stiff. And so if you don't spend enough time stretching, if you don't give equal time and actually probably more time to stretching, releasing that tension, releasing that contraction, then you just get stiff, and tight. All right? So you want to get that strength. Yeah, you want to have that strength. You want to have that fast twitch, that power that's associated with heavy lifting and things of that nature. But you also want to have the agility, okay? The flexibility, all right, and and you want to be able to maximize full potential of muscle output, all right? Now, how you're going to do this is, now this may be scientific, I don't know. I didn't look this stuff up, so it may already be out there in different words. It may not be. But what I realized with doing subtle movements, I realized over the years, I've done plenty of strenuous workouts, like with being an athlete in general, and also with working out, being an athlete. I've done, and then different jobs I've had that was very physical, labor intense. Okay, I've done over the years plenty to build muscle and to build strength and the potential of strength, okay? But what I needed to do was, the reason I had aches and pains and things of that nature was because I needed to learn how to release, okay? Now, so once it was, I was inspired to do more stretching and slowing down, I noticed muscles would grow, my body became more elongated, I stopped looking as withdrawn and tight and constricted. And I started having more of a lean build, still muscular, but lean, because I started to stretch those muscles out and release and contract and focus on breathing and sending energy and oxygen to the different muscles to expand the muscles, if that makes sense. And to start releasing those muscles from all those years of just tension, build up, tension. Okay, a lot of this also has to do with just mentally, mental tension and stuff, and stress. It contracts you as you become more subtle and sensitive, and you start to really be able to listen to your body. You'll realize how things mentally can contract your muscles. It's some people who can say, and I know what happens with me, if I start getting upset or anything like that, I can feel it in my neck. I can feel the tension in my neck and in my shoulders and stuff. And so a lot of that tension comes from your mental stress, okay? And when you can just relax, you will release a lot of that tension, okay? And so that's part of it, staying calm. But you have to realize these things are associated first, right? So once you realize these things are associated, you can start addressing it. okay? So what I realized is, like I was saying, with what happens is, guys, with your muscle fibers, right? Like you have like fast twitch, long twitch muscles. Like for example, distance runners, I believe they have like their slow twitch muscles are very, functional and well developed. And for like people like power, like sprinters, people who use a lot of power, they need quick, explosive movements like sprinters and things of that nature. They have really strong or really functional fast twitch muscles. But it's all about your fibers, your muscle fiber. And then the twitch comes from nerve impulse, okay? And so what happens is, guys, if you can stimulate the fibers, the fibers that we typically don't activate, okay? If you can stimulate those fibers, okay, so look at it like a layer, like you peeling back, and let's say most people only peel back to a certain amount of layers, and then let's say it's 2 or 3 layers that's untouched, okay, you have to get those layers active. You have to get those, I guess the best way I can use it is those atoms, okay, you have to get those firing, so you can maximize the potential. It reminds me of like junk DNA, how they say like 90% of our DNA is turned off. It's just there, and we only use like a couple percent of our DNA. It reminds me of that. We have access to muscle fibers and things of that nature. I'm trying to explain this the best way I can, guys. Hopefully this is making sense. We have parts of our muscles and our fibers deep down that we mainly aren't accessing, okay, and they're dormant, and we have to get those firing, okay? Now, the reason I know that, like, the reason this was really coming to me is because when I had an injury where I had to get a nerve block, and just over time, I started realizing, Mike, in order to get that feeling back like you want it, you have to get those nerves firing, okay? So that's why I speak about how injuries can teach you a lot if you take your time. Because, if you're really trying to get back right, you're gonna start to really understand. Your body will tell you things if you just settle down, slow down, okay? Your body will let you know the movements and the things you need to do in order to get those sensations back in certain areas of the body, get those nerves firing, okay? So what it is, guys, a lot of it, like I said, in order for you to maximize your physical potential, you know what I mean, you have to get certain nerves firing, okay, in those muscles, okay, and get deep down in those fibers that you're not accessing. Get those nerves firing. And how you get those nerves firing is your thoughts, okay? You use thought propulsion, all right? Your thoughts are things. So you use that thought. I talked about this before in a video I did a while ago about deep breathing. You use that thought with your breath and your attention to send that oxygen to different parts of the body. And you actually can do this, and you expand those muscles, you expand the oxygen, it releases that muscle, you know what I mean? Then now you can start getting into those deep crevices and deep layers that you couldn't get to because the muscle was so contracted. And you start sending oxygen in those areas of the body, get those fibers firing, get those nerve propulsions, firing off, and access those parts of the muscle in the body, and access that untapped potential. All right, hopefully this was a helpful video, guys. Peace.